Hey guys, alright, so today we're gonna be making Rasta pasta, but we're gonna be making jerk salmon and shrimp Rasta pasta. Alright, so let's get started with this recipe. If you guys are interested, I have a video up on making jerk chicken Rasta pasta. I'll link it down below for you so you could check it out also. Alright. So we're gonna start by cooking our pasta first, so just follow the package directions, and I'm using penne pasta, and then you're gonna drain out the water and set it aside. Next, you're gonna take your salmon, and I washed the salmon, and I'm just gonna use paper towel to pat dry the extra water on the salmon. Next, I'm gonna season it up. So I'm seasoning it with these seasonings that I'm showing you. I'm gonna be using onion powder, garlic powder, salt, black pepper, paprika, and I'm also gonna be using jerk seasoning on top of the salmon. So for some of my salmon, I'm not gonna make it jerk just because I'm making it for my daughter also, so you can do that if you want. Season half jerk, and if you're making it for, say, kids who may not eat jerk salmon, jerk chicken, or whatever, you can leave some without the jerk seasoning. So these are some of the other ingredients you're gonna need to make this dish. I'm gonna be using penne pasta, Parmesan cheese, shredded Parmesan cheese, shredded cheddar cheese. You're gonna need half and half or heavy cream. I use both when making this dish. And then some bell peppers or mini sweet peppers, some onion we're gonna dice up, and some minced garlic, and of course some jerk seasoning. Okay, and of course I'm using this one, Walker's Wood jerk seasoning. So gonna need some shrimp and some diced tomatoes. Now for the shrimp, I didn't show you me seasoning it, but I season it the exact same way as the salmon. I use the same seasonings, and of course add in a little bit of the jerk seasoning. I'm gonna finish seasoning the fish, and then we'll move on to the other step. So don't forget to flip the salmon and season the bottom of it also. So now I'm adding the jerk seasoning, and I'm just gonna rub it on top of the salmon and on the bottom also. So just use your fingers and rub the fish with the seasoning. And then I'm gonna cover it, and we're gonna let it marinate for at least 1 hour so that it can take some of that good jerk seasoning flavor. Alright y'all, so let's start cooking our salmon. So in a hot pot, I'm adding in a little bit of oil. I'm using avocado oil, and you just want to add enough to coat the bottom of the pan. You don't want to add too much because we're just gonna sear the fish. So when you add the salmon in the pot, you want to add the presentation side, so the top part of the salmon goes down in the pan first. So here I'm cooking the non-jerked salmons first. So these are gonna be for like my daughter, and now I'm gonna cook the jerk salmon. So just putting it into the oil, presentation side down in the pan first, and you're gonna let it cook for about 4 to 5 minutes depending on the thickness of your salmon. One way I can usually tell if the salmon is ready to be flipped to the other side is, for one, if it's not sticking to the bottom of the pot. So if the salmon easily releases off from the bottom of the pan, it's ready to be flipped. And also I look at the sides, and if the meat looks halfway cooked, so if on the side it looks like only half of the fish is left to be cooked, then I know I can flip it. So yeah, cook it for 4 to 5 minutes on each side, and then you can place it on a plate lined with paper towel to remove some of the extra oil and set it aside. And also grill the fish if you'd like instead of searing it. Okay, so alright, I'm using the same pot I used to fry the fish, and now we're gonna start making the sauce. So I'm adding in a few tablespoons of butter, and to that I'm gonna add in my diced onions and my minced garlic, and I'm gonna let that cook, give it a stir and let it cook for about 2 minutes so that the onion and garlic can soften and caramelize just a little. Next, I'm gonna add in my sliced bell peppers and mix that into the onion and garlic. Let it soften a little, and then I'm gonna add in my seasoned shrimp. So remember, I seasoned the shrimp the same way we seasoned the salmon, and so I'm adding in all of the shrimp. I'm just gonna leave back like 4 or 5 shrimp because I want to put it on top of my salmon. So if you guys would like to do that too, just reserve a few pieces of the shrimp and sear them when you're cooking the salmon. All right, so I'm just gonna leave a few for presentation purposes. All right, you don't have to do that, but if you'd like, you could cook it with the salmon and set it aside. So add in all of your shrimp, and next I'm adding in some half and half or heavy cream, either one, and also some diced tomatoes. Then I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon of the jerk seasoning. If you want your Rasta pasta a little bit more on the jerk side, you could add 2 tablespoons and mix that into the sauce. So mix everything very well together, and then you're going to cover the pot over medium to medium low heat. And once the sauce starts to boil just a little, you're gonna turn off the stove because you don't want the cream to boil. All right, so once it starts to make bubbles, you're gonna turn it off, and I'm gonna start adding in my cheese. So I'm adding in shredded Parmesan cheese, a mixture of shredded Parmesan cheese and shredded cheddar cheese. If you want your pasta a little bit more on the cheesy side, you could add more than I've recommended in the description box down below. And yeah, the last thing that's left to do with this yummy delicious sauce is to season it a little. So taste your sauce and adjust the salt and pepper if you need to. You could also add in a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder. Once the sauce tastes good, we're gonna take it and we're gonna pour that sauce all over the pasta we cooked in the beginning. So mix the sauce into the pasta, mix it really well till it's nice and creamy and delicious. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do is I took 1 piece of my salmon and I just cut it up into some pieces and added it into the pasta as well, and just mixed it with the pasta. All right, you don't have to do that, but sometimes I like to do it and it tastes good as well. So yeah, and that's it, guys. That is it for the jerk salmon and shrimp Rasta pasta. What I'm gonna do is make myself a plate. So I'm adding in some of the creamy delicious pasta, and then I'm gonna put a piece of the jerk salmon and the shrimp on top of the pasta. And I like to serve this dish with fried plantains. Sometimes I like to add some steamed cabbage or fried cabbage, and it tastes absolutely delicious. And yeah, that's it for this recipe, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you give the recipe a try, don't forget to leave me a comment down below to let me know how it turned out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.